MP5 on this?
Hey YouTube, Icon here. Thank you guys so much for checking out another episode. Today, we are on board with PRESTINNI. Now, about this scrim, I will say real quick that Chicago has stopped streaming their scrims. So, everything that you see from here on out, this is only from a few days ago, so this one is still pretty recent. This is the last scrim that they did with OGLA. So, 3 days ago, we uploaded the one that they played on Ramaza. This is another one that they played in that same series. Obviously, we are here on Gunrunner. They are just coming off of a loss in the Hackney Yard Hardpoint, but I wanted to make sure that we were breaking down this one. And again, we are on board with PRESTINNI, and this is just one of those where he uses an MP5, right? So some maps he's starting to use an AR, some maps he's using an MP5. So things are kind of going back and forth. There's definitely some mix-up going on, but I just wanted to make sure that we laid that all out. Everything you see in terms of scrims from here on out will be just a few days old. It's not the end of the world, right? There's not much that can change when it comes to strats. In the next, I mean, we're now only 9 days away from the first matchups. So the winners bracket matchups, which we're going to be covering all of those. So if you're not subscribed, make sure you hit that subscribe button. But not much can change. So we will be going through just kind of looking at how they've performed against certain teams moving on. But with that, let's go ahead and let's get into the analysis here. So at the end of P1, Chicago did a fantastic job, right? This is basically as best of a P1 to P2 rotation that you could possibly ask for. They did get the beneficial spawn on the right-hand side of the map, and throughout entire P1, no, they didn't get too much time. They only got 10 seconds inside of P1, but they didn't give up time inside of P1 at all. Now, as it's rotating back to P2, they did give up the push to the bottom side of the map. Right there, you just saw PRESTINNI get a nice two-piece. First one was Kenny, second one was Draza. But that's what happens, right? These teams, as they rotate from P1, they flood the bottom side of the map. We've seen this time and time again from a bunch of different teams. They flood the bottom side of the map. They've went ahead and they've made it through. So this last scrap time here is going to go towards OGLA, but it's only about 12 seconds. So if you're OGLA, I'm not real sure if this is worth it, just because of the simple fact that you're probably not going to win rotations. So over here on the left-hand side of the map, let's see if PRESTINNI ends up winning these gun battles on rotations here. Either way, they're going to have this initial setup, unless there's somebody already behind him, which looks like, oh, there were two there. So TJ and Slasher drop. Okay, so 3 people just came in from PRESTINNI. When he comes up off a spawn, you can see that they did spawn out. But it's not the end of the world, because P3, we've talked about it time and time again. P3 is a hard point on this map where you can hold it from either side. It's not like you have to have P5 spawns. It's not like you have to have these right spawns over here. Almost got the knife there from PRESTINNI. But they're still going to be able to get a ton of time here inside of P3. And if you're Chicago, you want to make sure that you're trying to get, as Envoy gets a 5-piece there. Look at the kill feed on the left-hand side. 5 kills there from Envoy with the Ram. He's still sticking towards it. He's still using the Ram when it comes to Gunrunner. So I'll be interested to see when we see them in playoffs if he still uses that on this map. Again, who knows? We might not see them play this map, but it's interesting to see that he is still using that gun here, because there's not too many people that are doing it. But as we look at this, if you're Chicago, we were talking about it earlier, since you don't have those back spawns for P5, you want to make sure that you build as much of a lead as you can right here going into P4, right? Because as you go to P5, you're probably at least, unless you get a break and you get a team wipe, you're probably at least going to go like -30, -40 when it goes back to P5. Especially, look at how far PRESTINNI is spawning out right there. So let's go ahead. Let's bring up our minimap for the first time today, because I want to make sure that we're pointing out that spawn there. Because so PRESTINNI came up off a spawn, and he spawned here. And this is a little bit of an odd spawn, right? We don't see this very often. So as he's working back, he is hitting the bottom side of the map trying to get into P4. The spawn that you normally see is up here on the top side by Water Tower north of P2. So reason why that they probably didn't get that spawn is because if you're OGLA, you are getting these back spawns. Obviously, you want to push through mid. You want to get inside P4, try to contest, get as much time as you can. But a lot of teams are sending people water, because if you have somebody water in this location, then as a team like Chicago rotates in towards P4, you can get easy kills off rotation. Now, if that person pushes a little bit too far, Or we've also seen this a lot. If that person, rather than they see nothing coming, so they start to wrap around this way, if they get towards this center tracks area, that's going to negate this spawn at the top of the map, which is why you're seeing Chicago get this back spawn over here. So if you are Chicago, now it makes it even worse, right? It's going to take you just a couple, 2 or 3, 4 seconds longer to get inside of P4, and you're even that much further away from P5. So again, it's super important that they're able to get as much time as they can right here inside of P4, because as it rotates, look for this game to be much closer. But even so, they've got a 50-point lead. They're not going to get these last 8 seconds, but you can see that right now they're starting to flood the top side of the map. That's a big kill. Again, PRESTINNI being that entry man, getting those initial kills. He was able to get a nice pick on TJ, and then when he went down, he was able to relay that information, right? So he got a kill, and probably most importantly, he got information, was able to tell his team where Hollow is. So as we go into P5 here, let's go ahead, let's listen into the Chicago team comms. Let's hear what they're talking about, what they're discussing. Let's hear what they want to do as it rotates to P1 and ultimately to P2 in the second set of rotations. I'll still make sure that we're checking in here, explaining the most important and crucial parts of this scrim. But with that, let's go ahead, let's listen in to Chicago's team comms.
He's hitting ramp to boxes.
One doggy.
Ramp? Okay.
Doggy, can you?
Yeah, someone push up
Go
around
P2.
Yeah, I will.
Zombie, 2-8 on, 2-8 on, one's back left.
One back left, hang on. Back up,
I'm holding P3 right now. I'm holding P3 right now.
He's like,
One in green, Drazo, one shot green.
Dead. There's one behind me short, I think.
yeah, there's
Oh
metal
fuck,
steps.
I'm backing up to Dale,
He's already to P2.
Someone's got
I'm
to
P3, I'm P3.
I have it. They're gonna be in you. Wait, you have
Yeah, they're gonna spawn behind you, lock.
Yo, water, yo, he might hit water in front P2. He's gonna be bathrooms or water,
Yeah,
bathrooms or water.
dude.
Or P2 spawns, P2 spawns, guys.
Oh, fucked up.
Hold his bathroom, hold his bathroom.
Look at
I will say real quick, I'm not going to interrupt the scrim, but if you look at the minimap in the top right-hand corner, PRESTINNI was up here towards Woods, and Arstees was up here almost to P3. So as OGLA was trying to exit P5, they were able to get multiple kills in these locations as they tried to get out. Now, the problem is that if you go down in an area like this, OGLA was able to push up the top side of the map. They were able to get behind P2, and now as PRESTINNI comes up off of spawns, they're getting this P5 spawn. So I like the fact that initially they were pushed up really far, but the problem is that if you're pushed up that far and you give up a lane, now you've given up a ton of map control and you don't have the resources behind you to back you up, right? That's kind of the biggest thing. Think about it. If you're PRESTINNI and you're pushed up over here in Woods, and the next closest person behind you is back here in P4, and you end up losing a gun battle in this part of the map, you don't have anybody to trade that kill out for you, right? So you're basically giving up this entire zone over here towards Woods. So I like that they were being aggressive and being pushed up. It just so happened that they gave up a lane, and now they're starting to work their way back. You can see that they had an 80-point lead or so towards the end of that first set of rotations, and now they're really struggling to find themselves game map control and get back into this ball game here.
Could be in the back, yep.
Walker's one shot.
In the back, dead, and no one in the back, and no one in the back.
I was see. Dead.
This guy's in the back. I hit him once.
I
Oh
spawned
fuck!
him out.
Red door, last kid red door. He's challenging you.
Yeah, you got me.
Back door, back. He's in the middle of it.
I'm leaving you.
Just heard formal there. Just make sure he's talking out to his teammates, telling them let's play new guys. So as they rotate, as they were trying to get into P2, they were spawning from the bottom side of the map. So they were spawning down here. So as they approached P2, it was towards the bottom side of the map. Now that it's on rotations, once formal called that out, a couple of them were already rotating, but they are moving towards Woods to the back of P5, just trying to make sure that they get these back spawns because they didn't have them initially for P5 on the first set of rotations, so it's a really good idea. Super important to try to get them second set of rotations.
Look at my green from time. I'm holding course. My green from time.
Invent.
Here you go, half
Vent,
wall.
vent,
Right,
vent,
right,
vent.
guys.
I'm holding pipes flat.
Half wall. He just smoked it out. He smoked it out.
Only pipes flat.
Eight, I'm dead.
Oh,
I have your cross.
Walker's dead.
Nice, good jump.
Oh, last guy was pipes, so we went middle or some shit.
Could be in green. He's front dirt.
Team green, nice, good job.
They're gonna be new on the
Pipes flat. Pipes in you. Weak. I hit him once.
I'm about to get naded and shit.
DJ in you.
They're not hitting old. They're not hitting old. They're
TJ dead.
wait. One's lockers. Lockers. Dill. Lockers.
Bathroom
I'm
dead.
great. Slasher.
I need a rock.
I got
Job,
rock.
job.
I got rock, Slasher.
I didn't hit him. I didn't hit
I'm
him.
gonna pinch vent. I'm gonna pinch vent too.
Yo, Slash.
And the one thing that we want to point out, because I mentioned this on the first set of rotations, is that as you move towards P3, you can get the majority of the time inside of P3 from either spawn, right? If you're on the left side of P3 from boxes, or if you're coming from the right side by mine. And also, this is the play that we were talking about when we said somebody goes water and then pinches from behind to get that time inside of P4. That's exactly what we said on the first set of rotations, and we just saw PRESTINNI try to do it right there. Unfortunately, he pushed a little bit too far, and they gave up a push over through woods, so now they're flipping that spawn. Although, it does look like OGLA is still coming from this side of the map, so it's kind of a fluid situation. My guess would be that right here, he's probably going to get that back P5 spawn, yeah. But either way, we saw that on P3, we saw Chicago hold both of them, first set of rotations and second set of rotations. First time they were coming from B-Dom, second time they were able to hold it, they were coming from P5. But as they build up this little bit of a lead, again, about 50 some odd points, we'll see if they can put this away as it rotates back to P5.
I didn't.
Are you sure?
He's there.
Oh, Slash
sorry.
spawned out.
Wait, one more there. One more there. They just
Okay.
spawn there.
Hey, you literally got a hit marker on him on my
I'm
screen.
pinching off spawn, guys.
Yeah, one's deep forest. Deep
Yeah, we're
forest.
good. Just one good break. One good break. Take our time. Just play
Two
for
back
kills.
right. Both one shot back right. Both one shot back right.
Got one of them.
I spawned
More
P3
there.
again.
Does
Right
Close
there.
one's nice.
Those on the
Look
boxes,
for
go fast.
four spawns. Four
Go
spawns.
fast.
No, no,
I'll
box.
cut him. Go fast.
Okay.
No.
Oh, he's
He's
front
coming
door.
back.
One doggy, Slasher, doggy.
Force dead. Force dead.
Back right. One shot.
Spawn P3.
No, he killed me.
Wait, I'm behind him. I'm behind him.
Nice, good job, Alex.
Watch out. I'm
going
going
you,
to
I'm going you, I'm
Kill me,
going
doggy.
you.
Kill me, doggy.
Nice.
Get
Force one shot.
the time, guys. Get the time, guys. We gotta get the time.
I'm all
Fast.
dead.
I'm flashing
I'm
smoke.
going
I'm
to the
flashing
back.
smoke.
Doggy, I need your doggy.
Flash smoke, person.
Yeah, in the back.
Yeah,
Flash,
that was me, that was me.
He got me green, person.
You're dead.
No,
That right there, as it rotated from P4 to P5, they just gave up the bottom part of the map, right? So as OGLA was inside of P4, if we look at the mini-map top right-hand side of the screen, OGLA did have control of P4. They were getting this back right spawn. As it left P4, they just pushed through woods. They were able to get in through the back, over through doggy, and then hit through ADOM. Once you get there, they got a team wipe. They got that initial time inside of P5. And now, as it's rotating back to P1, if you're Chicago, you only need 14 points to win. So this is where you start to think, can we get those 14 points inside of P1 and not necessarily have to worry so much about the rotations to P2, even though it does seem like they are trying to get there. But right here, they just ended up getting 4 dead in the kill feed. 5 seconds left. My guess would be that the majority of the rest of this time, maybe not, maybe so. Let's listen in as they try to get through this.
Front bathroom's dead.
I'll play your life, person.
Right.
Try to look dirt. Just play for kills. I got native.
One
He's gonna
shot.
be dirt, person.
I am one shot. I'm one shot.
Absolute green.
I was one shot, man. Fuck.
Yo, front bathroom dead. More.
One hitting dirt.
Stay back, guys.
They're gonna flood left.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm going top hill.
They
I'm
have to
going
flood
top hill.
I'm holding middle tracks in water. I'm holding middle tracks in
Top
water.
water.
Trying to stay top beam to block that train.
I'm beam. Yeah.
Yo, backdoor slash. You're just weak.
Back door dead.
DJ, one shot right? No one right?
And just like that. So as it rotates over to P2, they weren't able to finish it on P1, but as that was happening, they got the push towards P2 and got that map control so that as it rotated, Envoy right there with the 40 bomb with the ram. I tried to find his POV, but for whatever reason, his stream wasn't up that day. But yeah, let's look at the scoreboard here. So Envoy 41 and 33 with that ram. Great map out of him. PRESTINNI also dropped 32. I couldn't see his death, but I'm pretty sure he was positive. Underneath, it looks like Hollow played a decent map, even at 31 and 31. Slasher 27 and 26. Just kind of marginal maps all around outside of Envoy, Arcides, and PRESTINNI. They all had pretty good games. So with that, guys, down underneath below, make sure you hit that subscribe button if you're new around here. I'm going to be getting you guys set for COD Champs here in about 9 days leading up to that matchup. I'm going to go through. We're going to break down each matchup. I'm going to give you my predictions for who I think is going to win each matchup. So if you're interested in those matchups leading up to COD Champs, make sure you hit that subscribe button. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. Leave a like. Any comments down below, put them there with you guys. Thank you so much. We'll see you in tomorrow's upload.